Morning, everybody. So today, this is a video that I urge you all to watch all the way through the end. You can hear how a breeding loan can go awry. If you watched my video on breeder loans a while back, I stated on there was someone who had about 20 plus of my animals. So, well, the whole story behind that is back around June of 2019. So I had a rack that I wanted to move, get it out of my building, obviously full of breeder females. Some of them I wanted to keep, some of them I didn't care about as much. So I'm talking to a friend of mine, and he had a rack sitting there empty, and so he said he was interested in these females. Well, he's pretty big in the industry, and his best friends with one of the biggest people in the industry. He sells a ton all over the world, and so I knew he would want them all at wholesale, and I don't wholesale breeder females. I mean, you can sell them at retail. People always need them. So I didn't want to make a sale to him, so I said, okay, you know what, we can do a breeder loan. So I came out with 20 animals at that point. So I drove that weekend about an hour away to his facility and took him 20 females. Rack sitting there, he loads it up, everything's good. We're all happy. So at the same time, I met Adam from Beach Bum up there to give him a few females. And so everything was good. We were all talking great. We leave. So about 6 months later, I get a hold of him and I go, hey, do you have any idea what you're going to be pairing to my females? This way I can kind of plan. I have an idea what I'm going to pair. And he started in on this, I feed these things. I didn't know I was feeding them and giving them back. And I really had no idea where that was coming from. Simply asked the question if you knew what you were pairing them to. So we moved on past that. Now, in this time, I'm helping him. I've sold a few snakes for him. Whenever there's been any transactions of anything, I always drive to him. Never ask him to come to me, nothing. Everything seems good and all that. So it's about 6 months later now. So he has them for about a year. And I ask him again. I say, hey, what are you pairing to him? I kind of want to make my determination of my pairings. I don't want to have extras or anything else. And he started on the whole thing again. I feed these things and I didn't need to feed them and give them back. And, at this point, I went off on him. I told him straight out, man, I don't know what the fuck you're talking about. I didn't ask anything about anything. I asked, what are you pairing to him? Example, I bought a confusion from him. Now, I was looking to maybe getting a couple more confusions. If he was going to pair any of my females to a confusion, why would I go buy them? Simple question. I don't know. Apparently not for him. So after I went off on him, we moved past that. And so now let's fast forward to about 3 weeks ago. And I'm talking to him on a Thursday. And he's like, hey, you should come up Saturday. I'll be at the office. And, we can go ahead and, look around, do things. And I told him I didn't know. I'd have to see with my schedule. Well, as we were talking, he made it sound like a couple of my females had dropped eggs. So I told him, I said, let me see if I can come up on Saturday. I can get those couple females out of your hair. That's it. Done. So Saturday comes around. I call him, say, hey, I'll be there at 10. And he messages me back and says, hey, it's not good. Let's plan another day. Whatever, that doesn't matter. So I leave him a message back. I tell him, all right, I can't do that. We'll try for next year. I'm busy. And I tell him in the message, I say, hey, I can have Michael come pick them up if you're going to be around. Get those couple out of your way. That's it. Done. I I didn't ask him what laid. I didn't ask him how many eggs. Nothing. So, nothing from there. So then I go ahead and I give him a call. I leave him a message. This is on Friday. I say, hey, I'm going to be up in Bakersfield at Small Town Exotics, and when I come back, I can swing by and pick up a couple females that laid, get them out of your way. I said, just let me know. I hung up. That was it. So he calls me back, and I basically say the same thing. Hey, I can come pick these up, get them out of your way. He starts in on me again. I feed these things, I take care of them, and I don't know where in the hell he's going. So at this time now, it just pisses me off again. And, you know, I told him, I'm like, I've asked simple questions anybody would ask. And I expect him to feed snakes. What do you think? You're not going to feed him? Like, was he thinking you're going to give him a slice of bread? Like, I don't get it. So throughout the whole conversation, it escalates. And so then we're talking, and as I'm saying about him, and I'm like, you know what? I just want a handful of mine back. And so then he turns around and he says, well, and then one died. I was like, what the fuck? You never told me one died. So then he says, oh, it was a week ago. It killed me putting it in the freezer. Yeah, I could tell you struggled with it. So through another conversation, then he's telling me, because when I dropped off all 20, there was 2 that I thought might have had an RI. And I told him, I said, hey, you know what? Watch these 2. I think they're starting to get an RI. So whatever you decide to do, I trust you. That's fine. You know, do what you feel best. So he throws this back at me. And I'm like, so wait a minute. That was a year and a half ago. Now you're saying this thing died a week ago. So what is it? Did it die a year and a half ago? Or, because if it's a year and a half later, it didn't have an RI for a year and a half if it had one. And if it lived for a year and a half and you didn't treat it, then it didn't have the beginning of an RI. So what's the truth there? Are you lying about when it died, or are you lying about, I don't know. Okay, so we'll move past that. So now another thing, as I'm talking to him, he says, well, if I knew you were going to take them back, I wouldn't have bought these racks. Okay, so hold on here. Let's go back. We talked on a Wednesday. I delivered them on a Saturday. The rack was sitting there. So unless you can have a rack made, shipped, built, everything sitting there, you already had the rack. So don't start throwing in about the fact that you wouldn't have bought the rack and you had this expense, because that's a lie. And so frustrating. So still going through the whole thing. So I'm getting mad at this point, because he keeps going on talking about feeding, the snakes and this and that, taking care of them. If you enter a breeding loan, you know you're taking care of them. So I'm sitting there, I tell him, I get mad, and I'm like, you know what? I want my handful of animals back, and you can have the rest. The rest of the animals are yours. The clutches, the snakes, all yours. Because he keeps saying, this is a business deal. This is a business deal. So I told him, I said, there you go. Your business deal paid off. You're going to get about 15 females for free. And he starts going off. They're not free. I had to feed them. Well, technically, if I gave them to you, then you were feeding your own animals. So you can't complain that you're feeding your own animals, because I'm pretty sure you feed your animals. I mean, you've been doing this for decades, and you're a pretty big name. So, yeah, I don't get it. So at that point, I mean, it got to where I was just mad. I literally actually screamed at him on the phone, and I hung up, and I was mad. I was short of throwing things, and I was just over it. So now we fast forward. we have a mutual friend. I try to keep this friend out of it, and because I sent him an email, the original guy sent him an email, and I wanted it all in writing saying these are what I want back. This is what you can keep. They're yours 100%. You're good. I want to answer this guy's calls or texts because now I want stuff in writing. And so, of course, he gets a hold of the friend, tells a friend to call me, which is crap. I want to keep that friend out of it. It's respect for other people, not to put somebody in the middle of it. So I finally, after he called him, I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to call him. So as we're talking, he keeps going over the same things and saying that, you know, now I want to break the deal, and he doesn't know if him getting 15 snakes for free or is fair to him. I don't know what fucking planet he's on. If you got 15 snakes for free and you're getting all the clutches, you're getting everything, I don't understand how this is so unfair to you. Oh, and then, of course, then he mentions that he figures the split is 70-30. 70 him, 30 me. Like, what the fuck, dude? You're a joke. Like, I just talked to another friend who did a breeder loan with Justin Kabilka, and it was a 50-50 split. Justin did the pairings. Like, I don't know. So this is kind of really crazy to me. You know, of course, in there he said he didn't care that he was losing the friendship, which obviously shows me I was never his friend to begin with. I was there for when he needed something. So, you know, and at this point, why would I want to keep animals there with him? I mean, it's kind of proven I can't really trust anything he says. I mean, I don't know. Between the not telling me an animal died, then going back and forth on when it died, and, you know, with a year and a half in between, talking about him buying racks that were already there. I mean, it's just a lot of him hawing, everything else. So, you know, at this point, we're kind of at a stalemate, and I'm waiting to hear if he thinks my proposal was fair to him. You know, I've had a couple people tell me I should just figure out what the bill for rodents were and pay him and get everything back. Like Will Morrow said, he did all of it. He's been adding it up and keeping records, and the average takes around 30 rats a year. I could do all that. That's just crap. I really don't care. At this point, I want to get out of this. And so, what do you guys think? I mean, I know a lot of people won't leave comments or that, but hey, this is something you need to think about. I mean, now I'm like fully 100%, everything needs documented. Screw trying to be a nice guy and, you know, and trusting people. I mean, I'm still blown away by this. It's crazy. So, you know, take your time, comment below, say what you think. Let people hear what the general public think about this. And, you know, let's get this discussion going. I hope you guys learned something, and now go into things a little bit more skeptical than I did. I certainly blew this one trusting people. So, all right, take care.